change your mind. So we've got a couple new pitches to consider. As much as I do love NGLers, I don't want the name of the show in the fan base name, I think. I think that's what'll fix it. So I'm going to shout out a few new suggestions. First up, one of my favorite TikTok creators, at mdoodles and stuff, posted an entire TikTok predicting the name of our fans. This is the same creator who created a video before we had Bennett, and I commented on it saying it was as if she had bugged our house because she was so spot on with the guesses of our kids' potential names. Queen Emma, roll the clip.
So far, their ideas have been terrible. Kylie's Queens Princess Squad caused a visceral reaction. Kylie Kelce is no princess. She's a fearless leader. She's an alpha type. She's not doing sideline photo shoots and pleather jeggings. In the Philadelphia Eagles subreddit, someone asked Eagles fans, what do you call yourselves? And a popular response reads, we don't need some dumbass nickname. We are Philadelphia. Cheered on with, keep your nicknames. We don't want them. We're damn real. I personally believe that these responses could be 3 separate burner accounts of Kylie Kelce. I have the idea. The Kylie. You hear Kylie at the beginning and then it turns into sports. I think this one particularly fits because the acronym NGL for the podcast is only 1 letter away from NFL, a league that Kylie and many Kylie fans have an affinity for. If you want to tone down the sports theme, increase the fearless camaraderie, shift from Kylie to Kyleaders.
So two of the names that she brought up there are the Kai League and the Kyleaders. I don't mind either of those. But we know that I don't love when my name's in it because I feel like it's self-centered. I don't know how to say that any other way. I don't like being the center of attention. I'm aware that I'm on my own podcast right now. Moving on. In full transparency, we just had a little sidebar with Queen Emma and another queen on our team, Nicole, who does our socials. Poor Nicole. We're going to hit this list with a head-to-head situation to narrow it down to 3 options. So I'm going to need you guys to be following us on our socials at NGL with Kylie so that you can make sure that you vote. And we will do a head-to-head, 3 head-to-heads, and then put it into a poll. Okay? So I need you guys to buckle up and take some ownership here because my pregnancy brain won't let me make a definitive decision. So can I get some help, please? Back from another sidebar with Queen Emma. She's insistent that I read you the options. So now I'm going to list you the finalists that we have. The list is the real ones, outliers, the flock or flockers. Love that. Sounds like fuckers. FAFOs, and some new additions to the list, the Kai League and Kyleaders. We're going to put it on social. So again, make sure you're following at NGL with Kylie so you can make sure your vote gets in there. Moving on, let's get into what my TikTok For You page is serving up on Doom Scroll of the Week. I'm getting all sorts of videos on a subject I have very strong thoughts on. Pack my hospital bag with me, TikTok. If you aren't familiar with these TikToks or Instagram Reels, here's the gist. When you are going to have a baby, you are going to expect to be in the hospital for 48 hours minimum. So you obviously need to take some things along with you. Plus, it's sometimes nice to take some of the comforts of home just to make your stay a little more delightful. I mean, a human being is about to exit your body. You're allowed some perks. Leaning into that, some of the craziest shit I've seen women packing in their hospital bags lately. Number 1 is a tripod for a camera. Specifically, the video I saw about the tripod, the person even says that the nurse told her that it was a tripping hazard for the medical staff. So I'm going to tell you what, the reason I go to the hospital is because I love a medical staff and I don't want to trip them. I don't want to slow them down while they're trying to get to me. What happens if this one decides to do full slip and slide and just shoot right out and they can't run across the room to catch it? You see what I'm saying? Also, do we want to relive it? Like, the tripod for the camera would be, I'm assuming, to record the birth of your child. But do we want to relive it? It's a genuine question. I'm interested. This kind of reminds me of what I like to call the home ec mirror, or the cooking demonstration mirror. That's a mirror. I don't know if your birth experience had this, but the hospital that I go to has these mirrors that you can ask for, that they will actually put right behind the doctor and angle it down so you can see the baby coming out. No. No. It's the cooking demonstration mirror because you can angle it. No. The next item, an entire makeup kit. This one I might catch some shit for. I'm not taking makeup to the hospital. I'm not. I will take chapstick, and I will end up at the hospital with mascara because it will be in my fanny pack, which goes everywhere with me. Okay. I have seen quite a few videos of people saying that they need to have their hair and makeup done because it's their first impression between them and their child. Here's how I feel about it. If you would like to do your makeup, have at it. If that's what makes you happy and feel put together and feel back like yourself, do it to it, Lars. But it won't be me. And not to mention, when they come out, they can only see like 12 inches from their face or something. So like they're not catching details. They're gonna love you because you made them. In that same boat, people who are packing curling irons or hair straighteners. What? Why? Who? When? I'm going to tell you what. When I show up to the hospital, I put my hair in a French braid. Sometimes I do it before I go and sometimes I do it while I'm there. Put my hair in a French braid and you know what happens to my hair? It stays in a fucking French braid. It's back there. It's out of my face. You just made a human. I'm stressed out about how much pressure you're putting on yourself to look good. Although I will say, and I already said this about the makeup kit, I do understand it if it is a matter of that you want to feel like yourself and that's how you feel, that helps you feel good. Whatever helps you feel good in recovery, do that. So just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. None of these things go in my hospital bag. That's all I'm saying. The last item, and this one is going to stir up some issues because I think this one is probably the most universal, the one that's probably the most common, a large suitcase. I don't understand why we're bringing a wheelie suitcase. I'm talking a wheelie suitcase that is checked baggage size wheelie suitcase, not a carry-on. Checked bag, like a big ass wheelie suitcase. What are you bringing? I genuinely want to know. I want to know because I want to know if I'm wrong. I've done this 3 times. I've never taken a wheelie suitcase. I have taken a duffel bag and a diaper bag with all the baby things in it. I feel like I'm almost missing something. I genuinely want to know. Can you tell me, please? At NGL with Kylie, please tag me. I want to know what you're bringing in your wheelie suitcase. The big one, not the little. Don't tag me in a carry-on. I'm not talking about a carry-on. If it can fit in the oversized bin, I'm not talking to you. Okay? I'm talking to the people who have packed up for 6 weeks, 6 more weeks of winter spent at the hospital. Okay? I want to know what's in there. I will say, my hospital bag has not changed very much since Wyatt. In my hospital bag has been pajamas, probably 2 sets that are stretchy, that are very, very stretchy. My toiletry bag with all the goodies, which is shampoo, conditioner, a bar of Dove soap. You know what I'm saying? Just the essentials. A robe to cover my butt when I'm wearing a hospital gown. And if it gets a little chilly, my going home outfit, some snacks for both myself and my husband if need be. And slippers, flip-flops. I feel like I nailed that. For all the dad listeners and soon-to-be dad listeners, Jason's bag usually consists of sleep shorts, a change of clothes, and his toiletry bag. I think that's literally it. I don't even think the man brings snacks. He does bring a fan. We all saw that in the documentary, on the podcast. The man loves a fan, and I don't even blame him. It makes his sleeping situation more pleasant. I've said it before. I don't want him to have to suffer. I want him to be comfortable. Now, did I want him to carry a whole ass fan to the hospital? Not really, but he did, and it made him more comfy and it got him better sleep. So whatever. I would not be surprised if this time around he levels up and brings an air mattress. So, and just for good measure, I will share Jason's biggest tip to soon-to-be fathers. He is convinced that men pass out because when pushing starts to happen and birth amps up and the baby is on its way out, that you stand up and you get this rush of adrenaline. And a lot of times you've gone from sitting all day waiting to then jumping up and being in an excited situation. And because of that, he thinks that you should eat a snack right before mom starts pushing because he's convinced that it's an issue with your blood sugar. I giggle a little only because it sounds ridiculous, but when you are in it, having gone through it 3 times, it seems legit. I don't remember which birth it was, but I do remember looking over right as I'm like, I need I got like the shakes and I'm like, we're going. And he's like mid bite, getting ready to like hold me for a crunch. So, but he hasn't passed out. So take the advice. Just have a little snicky snack before the slip and slide happens. And that does it for Doom Scroll of the Week. And now a message from me about Liquid Death. When I first heard about Liquid Death, I said, this brand is literally me, and I meant it. Why? Because I think their commercials are hilarious. The fact that they don't give a flying fuck if I curse is also delightful. But I will tell you what, not being a drinker and going into spaces where people are drinking and being able to crack a can that looks like, let's be real, badass, is something that is inclusive. I feel like I'm also cracking a cold, crisp beverage, even if it's non-alcoholic. I love it. And guess what? I wake up feeling way better than everyone else the next day. I'm into Liquid Death's mountain water. It's always stocked in our house. But they've also got soda-flavored sparkling water, and their iced tea is now the official iced tea of the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds. So now they've got Philly backing them. Say less. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally anywhere you shop for water or iced tea. And for all Not Gonna Lie listeners, they're giving $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. She's the Oscar-nominated and Golden Globe-winning actress from movies you love, like Almost Famous, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and Glass Onion. She's starring in the brand new comedy series Running Point on Netflix. She's also a musician, an entrepreneur, an author, and a fellow mother. Kate Hudson. Woo! Welcome to Not Gonna Lie.
Not gonna lie, this is fun.
I have to start with a Not Gonna Lie.
Okay.
I've even said it right here on the show, actually very recently. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is one of my favorite movies of all time, but absolutely my favorite rom-com.
Yay! Yes.
It is... we've even considered, this is a hot take, but we've even considered Andy as a name for our 4th girl because we have all like our first is Wyatt, our second is Elliot, our third is Bennett. And we were like, Andy would fit in there and it would be so cool.
Andy would be so cute.
It's funny. I actually met someone at a pool and we were talking about girl names and they said that they named their daughter Anderson, as in Andy Anderson, and call her Andy.
That is the cutest thing ever.
Isn't it?
I love that.
I know. So
Anderson's a great name for.
It's
love
so
that.
badass.
But so Ronnie is really named after Ron, her grandfather. We spelt it R-A-N-I, but I call her Ronald.
Yes.
I literally, she answers to, I'm like, Ronald. And she's like, yes. It's the
It's the best.
It's the best.
But if I'm just letting you know, if this one comes out, it's on the list. It's in consideration. But to be fair, we have not come up with anything. How do you feel about people calling you the rom-com queen?
It's a mixed feeling because I now that I'm older, I love it. I think what happens when you sort of have a very successful rom-com, it sort of becomes what people expect of you and want from you. And as an actor, you're sort of like, yeah, but I want to do a million different things. So and as Hollywood goes, they love to put you in a box. They love it. And so I think when you're younger, it's like you don't want to be pigeonholed into this idea that that's what you do. And the second you have success in a rom-com as a woman, it's like they just want you in that so it's like you love it. And then at the same time, you're like, yeah, but I want to do other things. I don't want to just do this all the time.
Don't put me in that box.
Yeah, don't put baby in the corner.
Now, I just had Chelsea Handler on.
Oh.
And she told me that your mom is one of her career influences and that she grew up wanting to be her daughter. Has she told you that personally?
Oh, yeah. She's a self-proclaimed sister. She just said, I'm your sister.
I don't think there's much arguing with her, so that makes sense. It's like she told me, and that's what it is now.
I love her so much. She's a wild one. And which makes sense for our family because we all have a little wild hair up our hiney. And
there you go. So she would fit right in.
And so she fits right in. Yeah.
What was it like looking up to your mom growing up?
I mean, I think like anyone who loves their mom, you're growing up, you don't really see anything. You don't see it like from the outside.
That actually leads me into, I would like to ask your input on, obviously it's a completely different level, but we're in the process of raising soon to be 4 little girls. And with really dad mostly in a situation where we'll be out and about and people will stop him and ask for a picture, mostly in the Philadelphia area. But since doing some other things in Monday Night Football and things like that, it's grown a little bit. Do you have any advice or anything that your parents did or anything that you currently do with your own kids that you find is super important in not necessarily insulating them, but in a sense, protecting them?
There's 2 ways to go. If you're someone who's really wants to keep things private, I think you just make that very clear to whoever it is, whether it be press or whether it be you taking a picture with a fan. It's like when you're with your kids, it's just, I'm with my kids, and I really don't do that when I'm with my kids. I mean, that's kind of what I grew up with. When we would go out to dinner and stuff, that was just my parents' thing. It's like, this is about, sometimes you need to have some boundary because you really need to show your kids that you're attentive to them and that all of the incoming attention isn't really real in a sense. And what I mean by that is that it didn't feed them. We fed them more, meaning that connection. So sometimes they would put a boundary down with people. Then there's the other side, which is it can become exhausting trying to protect your children all the time. Meaning at some point there might be a moment where you just go, this is what our life is. And you explain it to them in a way so that they understand that getting validated by other people isn't going to bring you joy, but that this is just a part of what happens when you do something that people recognize. So I think that's kind of what I do. And then, as they get older, they kind of define what their boundaries are, you know, like my.
And did your mom ever explain it to you? Do you remember?
Well, my parents were really good. Like when we were younger, we moved to Colorado, and it was a much less kind of
Chaotic.
frontward facing world like LA or New York. But we also traveled a lot with them. Our parents were really good at just being like really kind, but like just always about our family unit. You know, I never felt like I was on display for my family. It was like, this is just what we do. And then none of this really means anything to us if our unit's not strong.
Right. Is there anything that you thought was completely like normal growing up, and then like once you got older, you were like, oh shit, that was not.
No, because I had the kind of parents that were very clear about how not normal, and a lot of it was. They were so clear about how privileged our certain experiences were with us. I think that's like the most important thing, you know? It's like, you can see it when your kids start to feel a little like, you know, that they're feeling a little different.
Bougie.
Right,
They're
yeah.
feeling a little bougie.
And our family, we're really good at just knocking that right out. It's like, no.
My husband is, I mean, we both grew up in like a very different situation than we're currently in, and we're both trying to mirror that, like what we had without like stifling.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my husband every so often will be like, no, that's dad's.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it is dad's.
I earned that.
Yes.
When you know, these are things that you earn. Yeah. I really think also just volunteer work with kids is like one of the most important things. I don't care how much money you have, but like kids recognizing that there's, you know, like helping other kids. That to me is the thing that keeps everybody grounded and grateful, is like, you know, when you live in certain places in the world, you just have a very different life experience. And it's important to not shelter it too much, to be like, this is different than how a lot of people in the world live.
I'd love to circle back to your acting career. One of your earliest movie roles was one that you've already mentioned, which was Penny Lane in Almost Famous. What was it like to achieve that kind of success so early?
I mean, amazing. I mean, to be 19 years old and read a script that had a character like Penny Lane was like, you know, incredible, and that didn't come around very often at that age, you know. At the same time, I was playing a different part. So I was cast as the sister in Almost Famous, and then asked when the girl who was playing Penny Lane fell out, I asked Cameron if I could audition for Penny Lane, and then he allowed me to audition. I'd auditioned like 1,000 times. And but when you read a character like that young, it's like there's just not that many roles like that. So the fact that I was able to do that was, you know, such a gift.
You won a Golden Globe for Almost Famous in 2001, and I just saw the clip where you were interviewed by Beyonce on the red carpet.
You saw that? Oh my God. I remember it so well because I'll never forget it, because they were doing MTV and Beyonce was on the carpet, and Andre 3000 was like up in a hotel suite. And I was such a big fan of Destiny's Child and Outkast. And then when I saw Beyonce, I remember looking at her and being like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. That's all I could think, was like, wow. And Chris, my ex-husband, loved her, you know? And I was like, oh my, and we were both like, hey, and she's interviewing me. And now I look back, I'm like, it's so crazy. I've been lucky enough to have moments with her throughout our career. You know, we're around the same age and came up together, you know?
An iconic duo, the two of you coming up around the same time, and just, I'm serious, like owning your own, like you guys have both just absolutely dominated.
Well, but she's Beyonce, you know? I mean, like you can't even like
Kate Hudson.
But it's different. Like I look at her and I just, you know, you see, you know, I've seen the evolution in real time. you know?
How
It's
does
so
it feel
cool.
that there are people who would have that same like deep appreciation and sort of awe in their voice when they describe you?
I don't feel it.
It doesn't.
It does not register.
Unfathomable.
No, it's like, to me, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's almost like I block it out or something. I don't know.
She seems lovely.
She's really wonderful, and she's kind and really caring, you know?
So the type of person that you can get excited has had the level of success.
Oh
that
my
they've had.
God. So, yes. And
That's
she's
awesome.
worked so hard. She works so hard. As you know, with Taylor, like, this doesn't just come. It comes with real attention to detail and care and real hard work.
Yes, the drive is
profound hard work.
incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing to know, you know, to see.
To be able to witness it all is very cool.
Yeah.
Have your kids seen any of your movies?
Yeah.
And what's the feedback on that?
I mean, you know what's so fun is that they love the show. Like, my kids binged the show in one day, the Running Point. It's like, you know, which actually makes me really happy because they're boys. They're like teenage. I've got an adult boy, man, and a teenage boy, and they're into it. So, I mean, that's all I can ask for as a like, that's the validation I really needed was that they liked it.
Well, I mean, they're clearly up with the times that I feel like we're very much, and I've spoken about it a number of times on the podcast, we're very much in a generational shift of appreciating and understanding not only women participating in sports, but women being within the sports world.
Yeah.
And embracing it in a way where we're like, yeah, she is a boss ass bitch.
Yeah. And also, like, women, there is a place for them in men's sports, like in whether it be in coaching staff or executive in the front office and things like, you know, I mean, as someone who grew up loving sports, it's like playing it, yes, and women's sports, yes, but like I love sports. I love baseball and football, basketball. But, you know, and I know so many women who are like an encyclopedia of sports.
The same thing with the coach for in the NHL now, the first female coach in the NHL.
Oh God, yes.
And to see, honestly, the thing that gets me choked up about that coach is that you have these little girls now going to her games and putting up these signs that are like, I'm going to be you one day. And it's like,
I can't even stand it.
You could be.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it really is like I think for girls who really love sports, it is one of those things where you just go, there's a real, like, there's a place for it, and it can create a great balance on a coaching staff, you know?
Yes.
A necessary one.
Perfect timing. I was just in the middle of reminiscing about the first time I tried Liquid Death. I remember thinking to myself, that's an aggressive name. I cracked that can though, and let me tell you, oh my gosh, I swear it tastes colder in a can. It is the craziest phenomenon, and it was cold, crisp, and refreshing. It was exactly what I needed, and most importantly, it was hydrating because it's water. I buy Liquid Death Mountain water for our house on the regular. I personally enjoy the fact that not only does it taste colder in the can, but then you're pot committed when you open it. So I have to finish the can. It's kind of like a little race to see if I can finish it before one of my children tries to steal a sip. Everybody's seen the backwash on children. I'm not sharing drinks with them. Liquid Death also has soda-flavored sparkling water and low-calorie iced tea. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally anywhere you shop for water or iced tea. And for all Not Gonna Lie listeners, we got you a deal. They're going to give you $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. Now, Running Point is on Netflix.
Yes.
For the fans who haven't seen it yet, it is hilarious. You play the president of an LA basketball team loosely based on the life of the Lakers president, Jeannie Buss. Mm-hmm. And you've said you're a sports fan yourself. Who are your teams that you've rooted for
In life?
Yes.
I grew up in like Elway, Colorado. So when we moved to Colorado, we didn't have an LA football team. The Raiders had already like moved to Oakland when I was little. So we were big Broncos fans. So through and through Bronco, all of us. And then LA was always the Lakers. So we were always big Laker fans. And Dodger fans, big Dodger fans, our whole family, huge Dodger fans. Although my dad and I are more Yankee fans, but that's sort of through his godfather was Lefty Gomez, who was a Yankee, and I ended up dating a Yankee and then did a whole World Series run. So I got really tight with the Yankees, everybody, like from, the owners to the team, staff, all the staff and everybody at Yankee Stadium. And so I just have like such a love for the Yankees organization.
I did see that you got to bring your daughter to set.
I did. Yeah. No, I try to bring my kid. My boys just get bored.
Sure.
Ronnie really loves it. She loves watching it. She loves sitting in front. She has a lot of notes. Like she has a lot to say about the things that I'm doing. She'll ask a lot of questions like, well, why did you do that? Like, why did you go to the desk? Well, why did you pick that up? Well, because I have to pick up my things. She's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't make sense because if you're going to go out of the room, why wouldn't you just leave that in the room? And I'm like, right, okay, this is getting a little intense.
She's like, here are my notes.
She's like watching everything. There was one joke she didn't think was funny. I was like, did you think that was funny? She was like, no. I was like, oh, okay. It's very, very honest.
I think it is such a cool opportunity, not only for you to bring her to set, but for you to be in a role like this, showing a powerful woman in sports, and that she gets to be like, yeah, that's my mom.
I know.
That's so badass. We've obviously talked about motherhood a lot today.
Yeah.
And I ask most of my guests, what is the best piece of motherhood advice that you've ever gotten?
I interviewed this Dr. Shafali. She wrote a book. It's called The Conscious Parent. And Dr. Shafali is a brilliant a therapist, but actually Oprah was the person who said, you have to read this book. I did this thing with Oprah right before COVID, and she was like, have you ever read this book? No. She's like, you have to read it. And I read it, of course, because Oprah, I read it immediately, and it was a game changer. And then I called her to come on our podcast. And the thing that really stood out to me is that we really do, our traumas or our childhood, our own traumas come out while raising our kids. Our kids are actually our great healers and our great teachers. And if we allow, it doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean that you don't have, certain rules. It doesn't mean that you don't, have a good authority and structure for your kids, so that it creates a safe environment for them. But what it does mean is that you're aware that the things that come up for you are things that you need to be as conscious of as how you're raising your kids, right? So like a good example would be the other day, Bing and I, he's in that teenage phase. We had that headbutt moment of, I want him to do something. He refuses to do it. And in that moment, I got triggered. It wasn't about him. It was about my own inability to resolve or walk away from the moment that was happening. And instead, I became combative with my 13-year-old, which is like, that doesn't go.
Where's that going to get us?
Going to go, right? But it happens all the time as a parent, with so many parents.
But I do it sometimes with my 5-year-old.
Right. Yeah. And when you walk away, from it, you can recognize where you sort of might have created more of a problem than you did a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
And the importance of being able to tell your kids that you could do better. I could have handled that situation better. actually models much more for them than being stubborn and saying, no, I can't admit that I was wrong. And I think that's the biggest lesson for me. And now that I feel like a veteran mother, I've been like doing it for 21 years. It's like to admit you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna be wrong. And to share your imperfections with your kids in moments without, to be able to say to your kids, I could have handled that better and I'm sorry. Because you don't deserve me to get that angry at you right now.
I have found that like an apology of like, you know what, Mom's really sorry. I should not have raised my voice. There was no reason to raise my voice. I think that we can open up our listening ears and Mom can not use her serious voice.
Yeah.
Like it's like that, like you don't always have to be the one that's like, just because you're an adult and they're a kid.
Yeah,
we all have faults.
And you're teaching your kids conflict resolution. You know, sometimes in conflict, you go too far and you need to say you're sorry.
Yep.
Instead of teaching them that you double down.
Right.
And what you find in going to your kids and saying, I could have handled this better, or I made a mistake, or I'm sorry I didn't trust you, whatever the scenario is, that connection becomes stronger. And I think that's sort of has been the biggest lesson for me, is knowing when to do that. Parenting is hard.
It's a crapshoot is what it is.
Yeah, it is hard. And like, you are going to mess your kids up. Like, I feel like no matter what you do and how you try to do it, it's like you're going to do it wrong. You're going to make mistakes. Like, you're going to fuck your kids up in some way at some point. You're going to do something that's going to feel traumatizing to them that you didn't realize felt traumatizing to them.
Yes.
And this is coming from like the most loving parents, right? Like, even in the most loving, like connective, healthy, attached parental situation, you're still going to mess up.
One more question, because it's another question that I absolutely love asking moms on the podcast. I've shared a number of humbling things my daughters have told me over the years. And being 21 years into parenthood, I feel like there must be at least one thing that stands out that your child has said to you where you've been like, well, there it is. Is there anything that comes to mind when you think about a humbling child moment?
It's like all the time. I mean, I'm like trying to think of ones that are actually like funny that like we don't hear all the time, like that moms hear, it's more with singing, but I mean, I get like all of it. I've gotten like, that's so cringe. Like, Mom, when you do like,
cringe.
Yeah, like, don't wear that, whatever it is, like something I'm wearing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like something I'm wearing or something certain posts that I,
your caption is so cringe.
Yeah. Or even like just like the fact that Instagram is something that I do. It's like Gen Z, for some reason, they're like, oh, like there's a picture of like the floor with like a plant, like, right. And they post it and like a foot.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know what and like like I call them like the fuzzies, and like all the fuzzy pictures of like kids like on a thing, but like you can't see anybody's face.
Yes.
And I'm like, I get it.
It's very cool
like,
to post that apparently.
I get that, like, it doesn't matter what it is. It just doesn't matter. It's nothing.
It is funny to hear the degree of teenage and like older humbling experiences, because we're very much in the phase of like, I'll put my hair in a bun and my oldest will be like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think there's a nicer way to say, Mom, can you wear a ponytail?
Yeah. I mean, I have it's always, I think also as a mom, they're just very much clued into the things that you're doing. Like, is that what you're wearing? So like if it's a little see-through or very see-through with me, like it could be very see-through and they're like, no, Mom, that's gross. Like, what are you doing? Or it could be like I'm wearing a dark lip and whatever. It's just like there's a lot of focus.
Sure. Because you know that at that age, we are actually, as mothers, we were put on this earth to embarrass them.
Basically.
They believe that
So
truly deeply in their hearts.
So it has turned out to be. Ronnie is different. Ronnie and I are like Velcro. It's just totally different.
I think it's such a nice dynamic that you got a girl on your third and that there's that age gap. Like, it just feels like you got like almost like a little built-in best friend.
Oh, it's just crazy.
Like, but I'm biased because I don't know what boys are.
Boys are so fun. Boys are so fun, but
we weren't meant to have.
Well, you might not be done yet. You know, I don't know. It looks
Who
like,
knows,
honestly, sounds to me like you guys are going to keep having babies.
You never. There might be a pleasant surprise in there. Oh
You're
God,
gonna end
don't
up
say
with like
that.
twin boys.
That would be horrific.
Or
because
awesome.
I'm already transitioning to a minivan. I would have to have like a full frickin' 12 passenger.
You're gonna have a Sprinter van.
It's so bad.
I love it though. I could have so many kids. You know, I mean, I even think about it right now. I'm like, am I totally done? But because I just can't imagine being done. And then,
right?
Yeah, it's a weird thing to think like, oh no, I'm done having kids when you love having kids.
I don't love being pregnant, but I always call it like a means to an end. And I so enjoy like that squishy kid phase. I love learning them and like getting to know them as they're growing up, and getting to see our 5-year-old from our 2-year-old right now is like, oh, I miss when you were like this age, but I'm having so much fun learning you at this age.
I know. And it just gets better. If you love it, like it really does get better. It gets a little scarier.
This is absurd. And I didn't dive into those comments, but I'm going to let you know my own comments. Power to you, girl. You can always get another pair of underwear, but the idea of having to bend over to get it down past your knees, we're not doing some wiggle nonsense to get them down without really like getting them over your knees, right? There have been some ridiculous times that I've had during pregnancy that are similar to this. I can't say that I've ever cut off my underwear. But I have had times where I will disappear and come back in like a robe or a dress, and Jason will be like, why did you just change your clothes? And I have to explain to him that the feeling of anything touching my belly in a restrictive way, aka a band from pants or underwear, is too much to bear. This is also right around the time as women that we start Googling ways to induce labor. That's right. I've said it multiple times to anyone that I've spoken to. I'm doing sprints next week. You can't stop me. Fortunately for all the listeners, I have asked my OBs about the most common methods, stuff like drinking herbal teas, eating dates, acupuncture, spicy food. Oh, how I wish. I will say my OBs have explicitly told me no castor oil. So if that comes up on your induction suggestions, the ways to induce labor at home, opt out. I'm going to tell you the reason I was told not to do that. Very simple. A simple explanation. I'm not going to get into it. You know what I mean. I was told it makes labor messy. Ain't nobody got time for that. We're not doing that. Before I wrap up this segment, you're getting a doom scroll double feature because I doom scrolled my Instagram so hard I landed on a photo of me that seems to have resurfaced. I posted this years ago, but an Instagram account at Kelce Brothers just reposted it with the caption, "You think Travis and Jason are impressive? Meet baby Kylie." That's me. That's legitimately me. When I posted this photo, I posted it with the caption, "A couple weeks ago, my grandmother asked me." Mind you, my grandmother at this point in her life had dementia. "How big were you when you came out?" I told her that I was 12 pounds 1 ounce and showed her the picture, and she laughed and said, "I knew you were huge. Thanks, meme. I weighed 12 pounds, 1 ounce when I came out, and this photo is not distorted. That is genuinely how round my face was and how little visibility I had. I have been told that at the time of my delivery, the doctor who delivered me, I was his largest baby he had ever delivered. I have since been dethroned by a 14-pounder. I'm not bitter. I'm a little bitter. I want to talk to that mom. Really, I want to make sure she's okay. My parents, I don't think were very surprised that I came out that large. My sister was 9'5" and broke her collarbone on the way out. So the minute they told my mom that I was going to be bigger, my mom said, that's a forward exit. That's an exit. I want you to just whoop, slice me open. I'm pretty sure that Jason, I don't know about Travis. I'm pretty sure that Jason was 6 pounds, some ounces. He was a little bit early. I want to say, I'm going to get this wrong, but I've heard conflicting stories from Jason, Donna, and Ed. So I'm just going to go with the average. I would say he was about 2 weeks early. Don't quote me. I don't know about Travis either, but I do know that Travis was definitely like the chunk in all of their baby photos, was definitely like the chunkier kid, which clearly he stretched out. And same. It's that second kid. We're built tough. We had the same situation with Ellie. Wyatt was 8'7", Ellie was 8'13", and she was just built sturdy. And I swear that it was the universe trying to make sure that she could survive Wyatt. And I stand by that. And that does it for Doom Scroll of the Week. You guys know that I'm very passionate about charitable efforts. We've been trying to make sure that we can tie those into Not Gonna Lie. And I'm not gonna lie, the best we could come up with for a segment name in a pinch was Charity and Yap. That's right. I'm about to yap about a charity that I feel very strongly about, an event that is called the Night of Too Many Stars. And alongside that is an auction. Jason and I have submitted an auction item. You can actually win, I don't know if it's winning, but you can win an opportunity to go to dinner with Jason and I in Philadelphia. And if anyone knows about the food scene in Philadelphia, at the very least, you might be having dinner with two very dull individuals, but the food is guaranteed to be outstanding wherever we choose. The event, Night of Too Many Stars, is a live comedy show benefiting autism programs all throughout the country. It benefits the foundation Next for Autism, started by the Smigel family in New York. They have a personal connection to autism, and the funds raised support Next for Autism's national grants programs focused on initiatives that support autistic adults in the areas of work, home, and social well-being. Anyone who works with the neurodiverse community knows that one of the most difficult transitions to make is from school age, which oftentimes will be until an individual is 21 years of age, and transitioning them out of school into the workforce or living independently. So Next for Autism makes it a point to support that community. I have actually had the opportunity to attend the event last year. It was outstanding. The comedians that were there were so funny. And it was so encouraging to get into a room where so many people had dedicated their time and volunteered their humor for such an incredible cause, something that you guys know is very near and dear to my heart. And I am so happy to have another opportunity to support a foundation that is doing great work in the autism community. If you're in the New York area, the Night of Too Many Stars is Monday, March 31st at the Beacon Theater. Tickets are still available. We'll put the link in the description. And if you'd like to support a great cause, you can donate at nextforautism.org. Apart from their delicious ice cold refreshing mountain water, the other thing I love the most about Liquid Death is how much they don't give a fuck if I swear during the ad. They don't care what I do. I'm chomping on gum like a cow. So Dad, Big Ed, plug your ears because I'm about to seize the fucking day and let the curse words fly as I talk to you about one of my favorite brands, Liquid fucking Death. Damn, this feels good. They make funny ass commercials. The cans are cold as fucking hell. The most badass way to drink water and stay hydrated is to drink Liquid fucking Death. Liquid Death water doesn't fuck around. Liquid Death also doesn't fuck around when it comes to sugar. Their soda-flavored sparkling water and iced teas have way less sugar than other brands. And I shit you not. Their cans say death to plastic because Liquid Death cans are infinitely recyclable. Infinitely. Okay, Dad, you can come back. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally fucking anywhere you shop for water or iced teas. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Sorry again, Dad. And for all the Not Gonna Lie listeners, they're giving $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. She's the former First Lady of the United States. She led public health and education initiatives like the Let's Move campaign and Reach Higher. She's currently the founder of the Girls Opportunity Alliance. She's also an author, podcaster, wife, and a mother. I cannot believe I'm saying this right now. Michelle Obama, welcome to Not Gonna Lie.
Hey, Kylie, look at you.
I'm not going to lie, Mrs. Obama. This is a pretty surreal moment for me. I feel like we manifested this a little bit.
I think so. That's how it works, right?
Yes. But I have always been such a fan of just sort of the way that you carry yourself and it in sort of the election cycle and where it hit in my life. It was like the first time I was able to register to vote at 18.
Wow.
Was the first election that I was able to vote for your husband, but then seeing you as a powerful figure alongside him as a partner was like such an outstanding image of like female empowerment. And I just remember that at like 18 years old that it sits in my brain really heavily. So I'm so excited to get to talk to you. I want to start off by talking about something that you just announced, and I'm so excited for you. You have a brand new podcast with your brother Craig called IMO.
Yes, I'm following in your footsteps. I mean, you're killing the game out here.
I don't know about that, but we're winging it.
Yeah, well, that's the fun part of podcasting.
It is.
It's, this is the first time we've entered into this space in a major way. I did a podcast after my first book, Becoming, which was really based more on the sort of focus of the book, the story of my life in the White House. But this is a bit different because it's a lot more free flowing. IMO, it's in my opinion. So, I mean, I think a lot like you, it's like you're finding they have a lot of questions. Times are uncertain. People are always looking for some kind of answers because I think we think someone's got wisdom out there. And it eases our minds, I think, if we can just talk about this stuff.
Now, how far apart in age are you and your brother?
We're about a year and a half, so we're really
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we're close. We've been close from the very beginning, and we also just lost our mom about a year ago, and so it's kind of strange that we are now the elders. I mean, when you lose both your parents, and we lost our dad earlier. We were both in our 20s when my dad died, and my mom has held it down for us through all these crazy parts in our lives, the White House years. She got us through those years. But when you lose your parent, you're always kind of wondering, what on earth do I know? My mom is not here anymore. And, I don't know about you, but I'm just now feeling kind of like an adult that knows something,
does it not feel like it's all of the wisdom that she has imparted on you?
It's there, but until you activate it, you don't realize that it's just been there brewing all along. I find that I'm having that conversation with the girls now. I mean, my girls are, they're adults. They're living on their own, if you can believe that, going from these little girls that people saw on the stage at the first inauguration. They're grown women in the world, but a lot of our conversation now is like, when do you feel like an adult? When does it happen? They think like, is there the magic switch that makes you say, yeah, I'm adulting? And I was like, no.
Yeah, I haven't. It's not there. I still on my fourth child, I'm like, how am I old enough to have 4 kids?
And when you leave the hospital with that baby, you think, are you guys for real? You're letting us?
No one's going to monitor this? Yes.
And you're going to let us get in a car with this precious baby?
Yes.
I think the sadness or the postpartum that I felt with my kids really came from, like, you love these babies so much. You're connected and you think, oh my God, all you have is me.
Yes.
I feel so bad for you. I wish you had a parent.
Right?
You deserve more. Because I don't know anything, and now I'm in charge.
This is like my inner dialogue.
It is, and you're doing it a 4th time. I just had to stop. I was like, I think I've been lucky with these 2. Barack was like, we should have a 3rd. And I was like, dude.
Well, 2 good sleepers, I'd call it too.
I'm thinking we're going to get a crazy one.
That's it.
It's just the roll of the dice. So I admire your courage. You're on number 4, and
yes.
you don't know what you're going to get.
No, it's always a toss up. I call our first initiation because she didn't sleep for the first 6 months of her life unless she was touching another human being. I'm like, maybe that's why I keep going. I'm like, that was bad. I got through it. It is always a toss up. You're like, I don't know what this one's going to be like.
Yeah.
We're about to find out.
And they show you pretty early. They're like, right
away.
I have an attitude.
That's it. Our oldest, I still remember the second day in the hospital, we had all the grandparents were in the room and she just decided to let her rip. She was screaming at the top of her lungs and I was laying in the bed as a first time mom, like, how do I stop it?
Where's the off button here?
And all the grandparents were like, and no one knew they were like, do we intervene? What happens here? And that was the moment I was like, oh, yep.
No one knows what they're doing.
No,
right.
But she's taught me a level of patience I didn't know I had. And she's like, she's going to rule the world. She's going to, I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah. And you have girls too. All girls.
All girls.
That's because that's what your husband deserved.
Yes.
Something in his life. That's what I told Barack. It was like, the karma was like, dude, you need a bunch of women in your life
to take care of you
around.
That's it.
No, to do a little smacking around.
When I say take care of you, I mean like handle you. Yes, like handle you. People kept sending me a clip online. Someone, there was a news outlet that did a report on girl dads and how they live longer.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course they do.
They
have women being like, are you serious right now?
Are you going out like that?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Are you going to say that?
Are you okay? Get it together. Yep. He now has 5 of us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He and Barack need to talk.
That's it. Now, you, of course, raised your daughters in the White House.
Yes. Woo.
I don't know about you, but my kids draw on the couches, the walls, the stairs, everywhere. Did you have any moments in the White House where like your girls were true kids and you were like, oh, crap?
Yeah, but well, because, you know, they've lived in the White House longer than they lived anywhere. I mean, they grew up in the White House. All right. So you're thinking the little years, like when you have full control, the younger years when you have control, and the worst thing that they do is write on a wall.
Draw on surfaces.
Yeah. My kids were teenagers in the White House. I mean, those years were just like, okay. You want to go where and do what? And there's prom and you've got to learn how to drive and you have to be normal and you're going to a party and was there alcohol and you have agents and now you have a boyfriend and trying to do all that, right? And allow them to be normal kids, right? Just the process of making sure they knew how to drive when they have been driven by men in armored cars with guns, you know, because they had full details,
right,
their whole life. And so I'm trying to make sure, because at the end of this 8 years, they don't continue to live that life. So when we entered, I'm thinking, how do I make sure that they're normal and ready when this is all over, right? And they have to get on a bus and make their own plane reservations and live in an apartment and have decent friends and be sane in the world. And you start realizing that in the teen years, because I wanted to give my girls enough rope to live and be normal teenagers. But I was also worrying about them turning up on page 6 because they were doing what normal kids would do.
Without that many eyes on them.
Without that many eyes on them. And they grew up with social media, which was different from any other of the younger kids who had grown up in the White House. When you think of Chelsea and Amy Carter and even the Bush daughters who were in college, but it was really Chelsea and Amy who were kids, but there wasn't social media, right? There weren't cameras everywhere, you know, every party that they'd go to, you know, we'd have to build a real community of trust around them so that, because I didn't want them sitting home on Saturday night, not understanding what it was like to be out and have a life before they went to college, right?
Right.
So it was really those years, you know.
That were the stressful ones.
I mean, it was like,
forget the crayon on the wall.
I'll take some crayon on the wall, you know.
A magic eraser will handle that.
And I think Sasha was driving one time because once they got their license, I told the agents they have to drive. Right. You know, I'm sorry, but you only learn to drive by driving.
Yes.
You can't learn it through osmosis in the back seat of an armored car. So once they got their license, we got a car for them. And then the agents had to figure out they have to follow this teenager now to school, to parties, and it worked out. But one time Sasha got T-boned. Literally, her car totaled. Some lady T-boned her. And you get this call that Sasha was in an accident. The car was totaled. And then I thought, ooh, I hope the lady that hit her is okay. Could you imagine, right?
Yes.
Like you T-bone like Sasha Obama.
Yes.
And then their agents. So I'm also like thinking about them in the world, right?
Right.
So, you know, the day-to-day kind of challenges that any parent has with teenagers, we had it on 100.
Amplified.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I longed for the days when, you know,
I do not envy that.
Just write on the wall, will you? We can wash that off. You know, I was so glad when we got out of the White House. Not, you know, it was just like I wanted them to have the freedom of not having the the eyes of the world on them. I mean, they still are dealing with paparazzi and being who they are and trying to, cover up their own identity. But they got a lot of practice in those years in the White House. And so when people ask me, would I ever run? The answer is no. I mean, then if you ask me that, then you have absolutely no idea the sacrifice that your kids make when your parents are in that role. Not only am I not interested in politics in that way, but the thought of like putting my girls back into that, that spotlight when they are just now establishing themselves. It's
Yes.
like, okay, I think we've done enough. Question asked and answered. Never going to happen. Right.
That's such a true mom answer that like, you're like, how will this impact the really your kids? And
who've
they're
already been in, they've already
Yes.
served their time.
right in very formative years. And you were very tactical about how you approached that. And so to then do it again would be,
Yeah. It would be unthinkable.
nope. Nope.
Nope. Right.
I've told you guys how much I love my Liquid Death mountain water. It's because it's in a can, honestly. It's so refreshing and stays so much colder. I'm convinced. But Liquid Death has more than just water. They also have a ton of great soda-flavored sparkling waters and low-calorie iced teas. Speaking of which, another reason why I fucking love this brand. Their drinks have the best names. I have a list in front of me of every flavor, so I'm going to do what any normal sports fan would do with a list, and we're going to rank them. Within the soda-flavored sparkling water, Dr. Death. I mean, does it get more aggressive than that? Squeezed to Death also is a great one. And let's be real, Killer Cola. Get straight for it. In terms of the teas, I personally really enjoy Rest in Peach. I think it sounds dark and delightful all at the same time. And Slaughterberry. Because if you can put the name Slaughter in anything, I feel like you've next leveled up, achieved greatness. Slaughterberry. They actually printed that on a can. Just outstanding. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally anywhere you shop for water or iced tea. And for all the not gonna lie listeners, that's right, bargains. They're giving $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. One of the reasons you're someone I look up to so much is because you're the perfect example of a woman making a name for herself beyond what her husband does for work. So I'm such a supporter of your Let's Move campaign and the work you did to promote healthy eating and exercise for kids, because obviously being someone who was physically active growing up, I really saw a point in eating healthy, fueling your body, and focusing on just moving. Mm-hmm. Why was that cause so important to you?
Well, I experienced the challenges in this environment of fast food and more sedentary lifestyles and all that my generation of parents were facing that was new, that was leading to a childhood obesity crisis. It was real, and I saw it early on as a working mom with my husband traveling. He was a state senator when the kids were little. Then he was a U.S. senator. So he would like I had a husband that had to travel a lot, and I had a full-time job. So when you're not a single parent, but when you're
we called football season single parent season.
Right. As a political seasoned single parent, right?
Yes.
You're relying on juice boxes, doing a lot of processed stuff, trying to get things quick and easy. And I saw the effects on my daughter, primarily Malia at the time, because the doctors were saying, whoa, let's make sure that we're thinking about her diet in a way that I hadn't, I was buying what was being sold to me, right? the conveniences of parenthood, right? And that had an effect. So we started making changes that were really simple, no sugary drinks. We had the kids drinking milk and water. They were always active. We cut out all processed foods, no more cheese dust in a box. If you were going to have macaroni and cheese, it would be real pasta, real cheese, just small common changes. And within months, her health numbers flipped. And I thought, oh my God, here I am, this highly educated person out in the world with all these degrees. And I didn't realize that we were facing this kind of dilemma. And I thought, now this should be something that everyone should be able to get behind, creating a healthier generation. Because I was also thinking about my platform, and it's like, okay, I don't want to do something divisive. My husband's going to be pushing healthcare. I was trying to be strategic about aligning my agenda with something that was important to the West Wing. And I thought, there's no way that anyone is going to take issue with trying to make school lunches healthier, getting kids more active, really just trying to make the next generation healthier than ours. And boy, was I wrong, which is really interesting in these times with the current, Secretary of Health and Human Services, who is now saying some of the same things that I was saying. But it became a partisan issue. People were telling me that, I'm trying to be the nanny state, and I'm trying to control what our kids are eating and telling them what's good for them and what's not good for them. Now, eventually we got a lot done. We were able to improve the nutrition standards, the labels, so that they were more readable, so that parents could really understand the breakdown of fat and sugar, and it was clear. We got the school nutrition standards improved in our schools for the first time in like 50 years. There hadn't been any updates. And we were really focused on making it fun, getting kids active, reminding parents that, we got to make exercise fun. So we had a lot of amazing partnerships with the NFL, and, we broke the Guinness World Record. I planted a garden to, try to get people more focused on making vegetables a little more fun and interesting for kids. But it was all about really dealing with a real health crisis that at the time, a lot of people didn't take seriously.
I think it also is so important to take your own life experience to see that switch with Malia, and it makes that sort of messaging and effort more authentic. And I feel like people can tell when you authentically feel passionate about something.
Absolutely.
So that, I still remember the different initiatives you guys did and programs you put in place for specifically like movement and getting kids active, and definitely remember all of the school lunch changes because they were obvious.
I think your generation talks about nutrition and movement in a way that my generation didn't, especially as women.
Yes.
No one focused on us as real athletic beings when I was coming up.
Yep.
And that has totally changed. And I'm so happy to see folks like you benefiting from Title IX and really embracing all of who you are, your power, your strength,
It feeds into all of the things that are happening right now with women in sports. Specifically, you have obviously that women are more encouraged to participate in sports. But then on top of that, the way that we're able to talk about food in conjunction with that, the way it nourishes our bodies, the way it fuels you to be able to have the energy to play your sport, and then also the way it fuels your body in a way that we're not trying to be slender or slim or fit in a certain size, that we're trying to be strong, powerful, athletic, finessed individuals to be able to perform our sport and do what we love. And so these are those Let's Move initiatives are directly impacting the way the conversation has been steered up to this point and the direction we're headed in. raising 4 girls right now and knowing that those conversations are happening because you started those conversations then is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
It really...
we just have to make sure we don't backslide on this stuff, right? I mean, because it can happen in the blink of the eye, where we turn back the clock on a lot of this stuff, and we're really thinking about your girls, right?
Yes.
You know, they should have more opportunity than we have. They should have more knowledge, more information. And this is something that I don't care what your political party is, but as women, as mothers, as parents, we've got to be mindful of what some of this rhetoric might do to turn the clock back on a lot of really important progress, to give girls, you know, acknowledge the power and the leadership that are inherent in all of our kids, especially our girls.
Absolutely. Now, I've been looking forward to talking to you about something we have in common. We are both 5'11".
Oh, yes.
And
normal, what I say, normal height.
Well, it's funny. I have a friend who's about 5'4", and she wears a size like 6 shoe or something. And whenever we would joke around about it, she's like, "I'm average size," and I'm like, "Okay,
No, you're wee.
You're tiny."
Well, they're wee.
My mom's only 5'2". My grandmother was like 4'9", and
Where'd
even
your height
smaller.
come from?
My dad is 6'9".
Oh,
so
whoa,
yeah,
whoa.
hard
And
overcorrect.
Oh, and you know, I'm not gonna lie. Doesn't it irritate you when the wee people take the tall guys?
Do you know the number of conversations? My sister's 5'9", I'm 5'11". When we were in high school, we would always complain about, well, this girl's like 5 feet tall and she's dating a guy who's 6'5". You can't save that for us. And my mom would always be like, "Hello, excuse me."
See, I don't know. I would have some issues with your mom. I'd be like,
We gave it to her. Let me tell you, she did not come out unscathed. But she would always stand up for herself. And it's, you know what, to be
for
fair,
her little self, she'd stand on her toes.
That's it.
And she'd look up and say, "Hey."
That's it. Now, I always talk about how being tall shaped me growing up. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to hear more about your experience. Were you always comfortable with your height? And like, was that where did that start? Or was it something you had to learn and grow into?
I think it's a little bit of both. I was always kind of a tomboy, having a big brother. I was always trying to keep up, and I always found what the boys were doing were more interesting, right? And we had cousins who were 2 boys that we were close with, some of our favorites. And so I'm the only girl. And my father raised me. It's like, if Craig is learning how to do something, you're going to learn it too. So my dad was a boxer. So he got us both boxing gloves because he was like, "You're going to learn how to punch." And Craig had his larger size boxing gloves and I had my little ones, and we do these spars, and I could always hit him harder. So, I was fast. I loved to run. So I was taught to embrace that part of me, so in my home, I felt tall. I felt proud. But then you go out into the world, right? And, before Title IX, being a sporty girl wasn't a thing, right? Like, what do you do? I don't think there was any place for my parents to put that gift, that interest, right? I took dance lessons. I was trying to be more girly, and girly meant you were smaller than the guys. And then as you got older, you found that, guys would be lying about their height, especially because I grew up in basketball culture, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because my brother played everything, right? So, and I dated a lot of guys on his team, because those are the guys I were meeting. So I would meet some taller guys, but they were always lying about their height.
A roster height is at least 2 inches.
Roster height.
Yep.
For men,
At
it's like
least.
6'2".
Yeah.
You are not 6'2", not if I'm 5'11".
We're eye to eye, dude.
We're eye to eye. Maybe you're 6. But that roster height,
yes,
boy, so I look at somebody's roster height, and then, so they try to make us feel.
When Taylor Swift walked into the family's life, nobody really knew what to expect. There's this pressure, right? When someone new enters a tight-knit family, especially when it's someone as extraordinary as Taylor, the world is watching. Everyone has opinions. Everyone has questions. And Kylie, she felt all of that weight. Not because she wasn't welcoming, but because she cares so deeply about her brother Travis and this family that means everything to them. But here's what happened that changed everything. It wasn't a grand gesture. It wasn't some perfectly planned moment. It was just genuine connection. Kylie watched Taylor navigate through family events with this authenticity that she didn't expect. She saw her making real efforts to be part of the family, not just as Travis's girlfriend, but as someone who actually wanted to belong there. And that did something to Kylie's heart. There was this wedding celebration, and Kylie found herself sitting with Taylor, and for the first time, she really saw her. Not the superstar, not the icon that everyone else sees. She saw a woman who was nervous about fitting in, who was genuinely trying, who cared about making it work. And that vulnerability, that real human desire to be accepted and loved by the family of the person you love, that's what got to Kylie. The emotions that washed over her weren't complicated. They were pure and simple and deeply human. Kylie started to realize that Taylor wasn't trying to take Travis away or change him. She was trying to love him the way he deserves to be loved. She was trying to be part of something bigger than herself. And watching someone go out of their way, watching someone choose kindness and authenticity and genuine effort when they could have just coasted on their fame, that's the kind of thing that makes you emotional. Kylie found herself getting choked up, not because she was jealous or worried, but because she was witnessing something beautiful. She was seeing her brother happy in a way she'd maybe never seen before. She was watching Taylor laugh with the family, ask real questions, remember details about their lives that mattered. She was seeing someone who didn't have to try this hard, actually putting in the effort because she genuinely cared. And then came the moment that really broke Kylie open. Taylor did something small, something that might seem insignificant to anyone else. But it was the kind of thing that showed Kylie everything she needed to know about who this woman was. Taylor remembered something Kylie had mentioned once in passing, and she brought it up naturally, genuinely, like it actually mattered to her that Kylie felt seen and heard. And Kylie she just lost it. In the best way. She realized that she'd been holding her breath since Taylor came into Travis's life, and she could finally let it go. She realized that her instinct to protect her brother, to make sure he wasn't going to get hurt, could finally settle. Because here was someone who was proving every single day that she deserved to be part of this family. Not because of who she was in the world, but because of who she was when nobody was watching. Who she was when it was just family. The tears that came for Kylie weren't tears of sadness or fear. They were the kind of tears that come when you realize something you were worried about is actually going to be okay. Better than okay. They were tears of relief and joy and this deep, profound gratitude that her brother had found someone who got it, who understood what it meant to love a Kelce, who was willing to show up fully and authentically every single day. That's what people don't talk about when they talk about these big celebrity relationships. They don't talk about the little moments, the inside family moments, the way a simple act of genuine caring can completely shift someone's perspective. Kylie wasn't crying because Taylor was famous. She was crying because Taylor was good. Taylor was real. And in a world full of people just trying to get something from you, that kind of authenticity is rare. That kind of real human connection is everything. And that's the story that nobody sees, but everyone should know about. Because at the end of the day, behind all the cameras and the headlines and the Instagram posts, there's just a family that wants their people to be loved well. And watching that happen, really truly watching it unfold in real time, that's the kind of moment that changes you. That's the kind of moment that reminds you what really matters. And for Kylie, that moment was everything.